Good evening, good evening, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is again Professor Yalengi coming to you from the United States of America, somewhere in New York City. I'm coming from you from New York City. This is the third show we are doing on our YouTube account, Congo Coalition. And we started doing a show in English. Most of the shows we've been doing have been in Lingala, the lingua franca of the Congolese people, or the Congo, or the DRC. Lingua franca meaning the language of the culture of the Congo, or what we call Congo Zaire. So this is the third show we're doing, and I promised you, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, that we are going to continue today with the second part of our study of the unique Rwandan culture. We say unique Rwandan culture as we introduced it 2 shows ago, and we did the first part last week, that this is a culture that no one else on the entire earth in the world has. The Rwandan culture is the total opposite of all the other cultures, including the religions of the world. And when we say the religions of the world, we are talking about all religions, because whether you have the so-called revealed religions such as Judaism, Christianity, Islam, or what is called traditional religions, or even Asians forms of spirituality, in all of these religions, traditionals, revealed, any other forms of spirituality, none of these have the same fundamental principles, religious or spiritual, spiritual principles as the Rwandan culture that we defined last week. This culture, the Rwandan culture, is called in their language, the language that the Rwandan people speak, called the Kinyarwanda. Again, and these are going to be things that most of you are going to be discovering, just like we Africans, especially we Congolese people, or people from the Congo, Zaire, have discovered. You're going to be discovering a lot of things that you did not know about Rwandans. For instance, in Rwanda, they don't have what is called ethnic groups or tribal groups in Rwanda. Why? Because in Rwanda, they have people called the Tutsis and the people called Hutus. Both these people are not a tribe as per se. Because in Africa, when you say a tribe or when you say an ethnic group, it doesn't matter what country you go to, from South Africa all the way to Mali, Niger, or Nigeria, or where you go to Togo, or to Somalia, or to Ethiopia, from east, west, north, south in Africa, especially Black Africa. When you speak about a tribe or an ethnic group, they are identified with a specific language that is related to a specific land or piece of land, and what is called ancestral land, and also identified with a specific king or queens or kingdom that is part of that group, tribe, ethnic group, and or land that they identify with. On the other hand, in Rwanda, and most people do not know, when you say Tutsis, there's no language that the Tutsi people speak that is specific to the Tutsis and opposite to what is called Hutus. When you say the Hutus, there's no language that Hutus speak that the Tutsis don't speak that identify Hutus as a tribe or an ethnic group. This is a specific, unique place, Rwanda, as well as what is called Burundi. In Rwanda, when you say Tutsis and Hutus, both are Rwandans, people who live in Rwanda, and they speak one language, both of them. The language that both Hutus and Tutsis speak is called Kinyarwanda. Kinyarwanda, the language that the Rwandan people speak. So therefore, they are not a different group that can be identified as a tribe. That's one thing that is unique to Rwanda and to Burundi. Okay, now you have in Rwanda, you have three different types of people. You have the Tutsis, you have the Hutus, and you have the Twas, T-W-A, sometimes referred to as the pygmies. Right? So, but these three group of people together speak the language Kinyarwanda. That's why when you hear Rwandans outside of Rwanda, all over the world, most of them now passing for Congolese, they lie to the outside world that they are Congolese Tutsis or Congolese Hutus or Congolese Banyarwanda or Congolese Banyamulenge. All of those are lies that are made to cover the fact that Rwandans have taken over and want to control the Congo and want the entire world to keep their hands off of what they've been doing in the Congo, such as slaughtering Congolese, gang raping Congolese, and stealing Congolese resources. Anyway, I just want to make that point before we start. So we're doing today the second part of the Rwandan culture called Ubwenge in the Kinyarwanda language, Ubwenge. We did the first part last week. But before we do that, I want to just make a few announcements. I want to ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to subscribe to our YouTube account, which is, you see it on under this show is called Congo Coalition. Congo Coalition is our YouTube account. And we are doing 3 shows. When you go to the Congo Coalition account on YouTube, you are going, when you see Congo Coalition, and then it says Rwandan-Occupied DRC, that's the show we are doing in English. Whereas when you see Congo Coalition, but you see the show is called Liloba, Liloba, we have Liloba TV, and then we have also Liloba Ya Moto or Liloba Moto, that's Liloba B apostrophe A, Liloba with apostrophe, then Moto, M-O-T-O, which is also another show we are doing in Lingala. So those are Lingala shows, both of them. This one is in English. We started it like 3 weeks ago. Okay, so that's our we ask you to subscribe, and please ask your friends and your friends and relatives and everybody to subscribe to this show, which is in English, and we are doing it once a week, mostly today on Sunday. Today is Sunday. Today is the 29th of March 2020. So we are doing the English show today. And so some friends who don't speak English, they may want to get in and they're going to see that we speak in English, because most of the show we do in Lingala, because Congolese people all over the world speak Lingala. And now our Facebook account is Congo with a K, Coalition with a K. And I'm going to give the telephone number of our WhatsApp, so that, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who have questions, who want to write to us, who want to communicate with us, if you are not, because if you subscribe, then when the show is starting, you will be advised that we are streaming live, then you can follow us directly. If not, then you can write to us on our web, what is called WhatsApp account or WhatsApp phone number. The area code is 929-800-0153, 929-800-0153. So please ask your friends and pass it on to subscribe and send it to everyone you know, whether congressman, senator, politician, local politicians, governor, mayor, journalist, whether TV, radio, or written, okay, or newspapers. Please share this show with them, because what has been happening in the Congo Zaire is not known, or most people do not understand what has been going over there for about 20 years now. That's why we're saying it's Rwandan-Occupied DRC, because Rwanda has been occupying this huge land mass since at least 2001. What is the title of our show today? As we said, today we have, again, Congo Coalition TV, Rwandan-Occupied DRC. So we're doing part 2, Rwanda's unique culture, called Ubwenge. Rwandan-Occupied DRC, Rwanda's unique, part 2 of Rwanda's unique culture, called Ubwenge. That's what we are doing today. Okay, so let's go. To begin with, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, last week we defined the culture of Ubwenge, Rwanda's culture called Ubwenge in the language of Kinyarwanda. And we said that this culture was unique. Why? Because this culture, in a word, is based on what is called lies. However, when we say Ubwenge for the Rwandans, is more than lies. It's more than lying. And I gave you some of the terms using a document. Actually, if we, for instance, we Congolese, scholar and general people and Congolese people as a whole, because even today, throughout the DRC and throughout the world in the diaspora, most people are just discovering this culture of Ubwenge. They're just discovering that Rwandans, Tutsis mostly, have been using Ubwenge to even take over the Congo and occupy the Congo, and even today running the Congo using this culture of Ubwenge. And that's why, for instance, in our show in Lingala, we have described Rwanda as a virus. As a virus. We described Rwanda as a virus before this coronavirus thing came about. We called Rwanda a virus. Why? We called it a virus because it is a small country, tiny country, Rwanda, yet it is controlling now the entire DRC. It has occupied the DRC. It is controlling the DRC. It is running the DRC, with the master of that occupation being Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda. That's why before coronavirus, we described Rwanda as a virus. And as a virus, even though Rwanda is small, it's occupying the DRC, just like what we see today with the coronavirus, and even with other viruses before coronavirus, that is so tiny you cannot see it with a naked eye. You actually, not even with a light microscope, you need an electron microscope for you to be able to visualize a virus. But coronavirus today has stopped the entire earth. Nobody's moving, nobody's traveling, isolation, and it's killing thousands and thousands of people. Coronavirus, as tiny as it is, the same thing with Paul Kagame's Rwanda occupying the DRC. And remember that Paul Kagame is a Tutsi. Today, even though the Hutu are a majority in Rwanda, but the Tutsis control and run Rwanda. And then the same Tutsis are now running and controlling and have occupied the DRC. That's number one. Before we get to Ubwenge, which I'm talking about, the other thing I want to say is this. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters who are following me, Professor Yalengi, what I am speaking on, what I am providing you is not my own opinion. I'm not here to give you my opinion. I'm not here to tell you things that have no evidence, no proof. That's what I want you to understand. I am here to present to you evidence, proof, and mostly I'm using documents written by other Rwandan Tutsis themselves. These are not my opinions. In fact, if it were not for other Rwandans writing about what we're talking about today, Ubwenge or this culture, I was also oblivious, just like most of the Congolese, just like most of Africans, just like most of the Europeans, just like most of the entire earth, the entire world was oblivious to what we're talking about here. We Congolese in America uncovered this culture in 2014. Even though the Rwandans have been in the Congo, in DRC since 1996, when Bill Clinton administration helped the Rwandans, Ugandans, and Burundians to invade the DRC. At the time, Bill Clinton was backing these forces to remove Mobutu so that America can also look at her own interest in the DRC, because Mobutu at that time had let the closeness of a relationship that Mobutu had with the United States, he had changed and moved closer to France, to the Europeans, especially to France. So America wanted to, in a way, move in to try to, in a way, recuperate and be able to provide America with what America needs as far as raw materials are concerned, minerals are concerned. In other words, America's interest in the Great Lakes region. That's why America under Bill Clinton wanted to remove Mobutu. But Bill Clinton and the international community did not know that Paul Kagame and the person you call Yoweri Museveni in Uganda and Burundi, that they had their own hidden agenda as they were getting using Bill Clinton's administration forces and support and logistics for them to move inside the Congo and remove Mobutu. So again, that was for the Rwandans, Tutsis. They were using Ubwenge against or toward Bill Clinton, Tony Blair, the international community, without the international community knowing about it. So the documents, excuse me, the document that I'm presenting to you today are the documents written by other Rwandan Tutsis. For instance, last week we gave you the definition of Ubwenge, a definition given by Gaspard Musabimana, a Rwandan who lived in France right now. How did Musabyimana define their culture, or the culture of Rwanda? The culture of Rwanda that is called Ubwenge. I gave you the definition last week, but let me just remind you the definition we gave last week. Musabyimana wrote this, and I gave you that last week. I'm going to repeat it, so I'm going to put emphasis on the few words. What is the culture of Rwanda? First of all, let me just put it point blank. The culture of Rwanda, as I said earlier, is the total opposite of everybody else's on the face of the earth. Why? Because their culture is based on, in a word, what we call lies. The Rwandan culture is founded on not telling the truth. Let me put it another way. The Rwandan culture is based on never telling the truth. Never telling the truth. Because Rwandans' ancestors taught them, and they've been teaching one another, and even today they believe, and that's what they practice, that the truth kills. Therefore, you can never tell the truth. You must always tell lies. But these lies, when they say lies, for them it's more than just lies. So here, the culture of telling lies called Ubwenge is in Rwanda an undeniable cultural fact. This is a definition that Musabyimana Gaspard gives of the culture, the Rwandan culture, that it's an undeniable fact. They say the manifestations of this culture can be observed even today. In other words, today, as we're speaking, you go to Rwanda, you are going to see the evidence, the manifestations of this culture. Of course, if you're coming from outside, you are not going to know. You are not going to observe it. Whether you're coming from Washington, D.C., from New York, from Atlanta, from Louisiana, from Los Angeles, from Minnesota, or from Boston, no matter where you're coming from as an American, as a non-Rwandan, you are not going to know. But those who have studied this culture can see, as this Rwandan is writing, you can see the manifestations of this culture. Now, then he says, this word has no equivalent in French. I told you last week because he gave the definition in French. So therefore, he says, the word Ubwenge, though you can say it's based on lies, but it does not have an equivalent in the French language. Because in French language, lies translate into mensonge. Mensonge. Mensonge means lies in English, but Ubwenge does not just mean lies. That's why Musabyimana writes it doesn't have an equivalent in French. Why? He says it combines together the French words for. So if you combine these French words, ladies and gentlemen, and now we're saying we translate those words in English. These words, when you combine them, it begins to give you an idea of what Ubwenge means. Just knowing that it's the total opposite of the truth. That's the culture. So which words does it combine? It combines words for, number one, intelligence. Number two, lies, right? Lies. Number three, cunning, being cunning. Number three, deviousness. Number four, shrewdness, being shrewdness. Duplicity, and then concealment, being able to hide, concealment. And then treachery, being treacherous, from treasonous, treachery. When you take all those words, you combine them, begin to give you a definition for Ubwenge, for that culture. And I explained to you, I read to you a declaration by a priest, a Rwandan priest, who said that for Rwandans, Tutsis, and all Rwandans in general, Ubwenge, practicing that culture to them is a science. And I read to you the way they said that science, the Rwandan is proud to possess it, but they said that the European do not have it. The European does not have it. The European does not have it. I'm saying hello to some of the people who are joining us live, such as Beep Dutch, such as Mando Elanga, who are following us directly as we stream the show, and some of you also are joining us. So that is the culture. In other words, for Rwandans, not only lying, for them, Ubwenge is intelligence, is lies, is duplicity, is concealment, is shrewdness, is deviousness, is treachery, is cunning. All these things, when we put them together, for them it is a science that the Europeans does not have, but they, the Rwandan Tutsis, are proud to have it, because to them it is a sign of nobility. It's a sign of being like a princess, a king, a queen, a prince. So therefore, to them, lies is no problem with them. Ubwenge is no problem with them. So this is how, or the definition of this culture. And I told you last week that there was a German, because Rwanda and Burundi, and what we call today Tanzania, used to be a German colony from 1884 until 1919. That is why anywhere you are in the world, whether it's in America, where American government has been lied to, Canada, we have seen documents, the Canadian government has been lied to the effect that they were Congolese Tutsis in the Congo in the 1800s. Those are lies, again, based on Ubwenge. Why? Because the Rwandans, in order for them to take over the Congo, to control it, they have infiltrated, they have given Rwandans, Congolese identities who have gone all over the world, pretending to be Congolese and fighting, so-called, telling the world, Americans, Canadians, Europeans, Asians, that what's happening in Eastern Congo is an inter-ethnic struggle between quote-unquote Rwandan minorities, whether they're Tutsis or Hutus or Banyamulenge or Banyarwanda, in Eastern Congo, that they had been there since 1800s, which is a lie. Why? Because the small kingdom of Rwanda, Urundi will become Burundi. That little kingdom, together with the huge territory of what we call today Tanzania, used to be the colony of Germany from 1884 until 1919. So how could so-called Rwandan Tutsis or Hutus even be in the Congo in the 1800s, where the little kingdom, the tiny kingdom with Tanzania, used to be German colony? They were never in the Congo, no Tutsis, no Hutus. In fact, they were such small numbers that they were not, for instance, even affected by what is called the slave trade, right? Where they caught Africans, took them to the Americas, and they took the merchandise, took them to Europe, and the Europe, they came to Africa. They caught most of Congolese people, where you find them in in Brazil, you find them in Cuba, you find them even in Cuba, in Haiti, you find them here in the United States. For instance, in New Orleans, what we call in Louisiana and New Orleans, before the United States bought Louisiana from French, there is a place that is a park that is still called even today Congo Square in New Orleans. So Congolese people went all over the place. Nowhere you will find a Hutu or a Tutsi amongst the people that were caught and brought to these lands. Tanzania or on Indian Ocean, you know, they were caught, and Tanzania is huge, but there's no people from Tanzania or even people from Burundi claim that they were in the Congo in the 1800s. Nowhere, except the Tutsis using Ubwenge have infiltrated, and they're lying to the entire world that they were minority in the Congo, in Eastern Congo in the 1800s when they were not there. So I was saying that to say that there was a German by the name of Richard Kant, K-A-N-D-T, who was a German explorer who in 1909 became the imperial resident of Germany's East African colony. They elevated him, the imperial resident of Germany's East African colony, which comprised what? Tanzania, Rwanda, and Burundi. But at that time, it was a tiny kingdom called Rwanda-Urundi that was swallowed in that colony, Eastern African colony of Germany. So Richard Kant researched the Rwandan culture, right? He had been there since the beginning of 1900. So in 1921, when he went back to Germany, he published a book called Caput Nili, which is in German. I don't know whether it has been translated in English or French, Caput Nili. But those Rwandans who wrote about the culture, because remember, from 1884 until 1919, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, they spoke German, the language of Germany. They spoke German because that's what the language that was used in that colony. Okay, so those one of them I'm going to introduce to you is Antoine Nyetera, who also wrote about Ubwenge. So they could read German, so they read the book written by Richard Kant, which they translated. And so Richard Kant, when he studied this culture, he wrote about it. I read to you last week that, for instance, for Tutsis, Ubwenge or lying does not offend their moral concepts, right? It doesn't offend the moral concepts for Tutsis, meaning for Rwandans. Lying. This is what Richard Kant found out in the early 1900, where he was the so-called imperial resident of Germany's East African colony, when he lived in that colony in the early 1900. Richard Kant said that for Tutsis, for Rwandans, Ubwenge, lying, misrepresenting, manipulating, concealing, killing, destroying your enemy or your opponent or somebody you want to destroy by making up stuff against them, it does not offend their moral concepts, because for them it's part of their culture. That's what Richard Kant wrote. And then I told you about the Prime Minister of Rwanda, the lady by the name of Agathe Uwiligiyimana, right, in 1994, who, before the president of Rwanda and the UN representative in Rwanda in Kigali, she stated point blank, quote, I'm quoting here, that Rwandans are liars and it is a part of their culture. From childhood, they are taught to not tell the truth, especially if it can hurt them. Not tell the truth, especially, in other words, as I told you, for them, it is the truth that kills them, for you can never, ever, ever tell the truth. Maybe we're going to do a third part, because Antoine Yetera explained to us that in Rwanda, what Rwandans do, they used to do was they could to make up stuff to destroy somebody. If you want to take their stuff, you want to take their house, you want to take their cows, you want to take the land or their crops. A Rwandan Tutsi will go before the king during the time when the Tutsis were, they had royalty was like a little kingdom. Antoine Yetera writes that the person will make up lies out of nothing, ex nihilo, as they say, so that the king can order for them to take your stuff from you and give it to them. And they can even make stuff lie so that they can kill you and take your stuff and give it to them. Antoine Yetera says, you who is being accused, if you begin to complain that they're lying about you, they look at you like you have lost. They're going to kill you. They're going to take your stuff. They're going to give it to the person who's telling lies about you. Antoine Yetera says that in their culture, if somebody is lying about you, right then and there, you have to make up lies about them that are more serious than the lies they just made up against you. That's how the culture works. That's how even the justice system in Rwanda works, even today. All right? Now, talking about lies, I'm not going to be long today. Antoine Yetera, that I mentioned to you, he also wrote a document. And this document that I'm going to give you today for you to read it for next time, because I plan to do a third part, because I'm going to begin to share with you how this culture has impacted, and because I'm in the United States, how this culture has impacted American foreign policy as far as the Great Lakes region is concerned. How this Ubwenge has impacted, how American leaders have been misled by Rwandan culture of Ubwenge, so that they have used the wrong policy in the Great Lakes region that has worked in favor of this mass murderer and criminal Paul Kagame and his Rwandan government and its people. We're going to begin to look at what has happened. But today I want to focus on Ubwenge itself. For instance, Antoine Yetera, here's the title of the document that I want you to download and read. The document you're going to download is from a blog where this document by Antoine Yetera was translated. It is Rwandan Mindset and Culture. Rwandan Mindset and Culture, column, a document. Rwandan Mindset and Culture, column, a document. When you download that blog, you are going to read a little introduction about Antoine Yetera himself. He's a prince, a Rwandan Tutsi prince who wrote this document, and who had been throughout the negotiations, even going back to the 1990s, early 1990s, all the way to 1993, when there was these conferences in Arusha in Tanzania, where the international community was trying to bring together both the Tutsis who were outside, who were rebels, attacking Rwandan elected government of Habyarimana. They were rebels attacking Rwanda from the outside, from Uganda. Then these rebels, being led by Paul Kagame, they lied to the international community by telling them that we want to restore democracy. We want to get together with the Hutu governments so we also can be represented in the government. But the international community did not know that Paul Kagame was using Ubwenge, lies, manipulations, and all of that, even towards the international community. So in this document, you are going to read it. That now, when you read that document, Rwandan Mindset and Culture, a document written by Antoine Yetera, you will get to, when you get to the end of that document, Antoine Yetera writes about what he calls the biggest lie by RPF. RPF is the Rwandan Patriotic Front of Paul Kagame, right? Which also then the army wing, the armed wing of that of Paul Kagame is what called RPA, Rwandan Patriotic Army. Nothing patriotic about it. It is a group of killers of who even were killing their own Rwandan Tutsi and Hutu people indiscriminately, all of that so that just Paul Kagame can wrestle power in violence. But this is what Antoine Yetera writes. By the way, Antoine Yetera is also a Rwandan Tutsi prince. Everybody knows that. In fact, when you download Rwandan Mindset and Culture, a document, we are explaining that after Antoine Yetera died in 2012, Paul Kagame's expert in computers, in computers, went in and blocked the website that used to host this document by Antoine Yetera. They blocked it, and what they did, you could not access it anymore. But because we had downloaded this document prior to 2012, when we went back to copy this document, we found out it was blocked. What we did was we republished that document in French, the way Antoine Yetera wrote it, and then later on we translated it in English, so you can read it now in English. Anyway, here's what Antoine Yetera wrote. What happened in 1993? Antoine Yetera writes, and you read it there. He says, at the end, the biggest lie by the RPF of Paul Kagame was to make the international community believe that it wanted to participate in the peace accords that were negotiated in Arusha. That was in 1993. And again, I'm reading to you, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, documents by Rwandans. I am not making it up. You can, that's why I'm giving you the document so you can read it. It's not my opinion. If you have been to Rwanda, if you have supported Paul Kagame, if you have been to Rwanda and have seen the mirage, the smokes and mirrors of what was so-called Rwandan development and Rwandan, majority women in the parliament, all of that, those are smokes and mirrors. And beginning next week, I'm going to begin to give you the evidence of people who have lived there, who have worked there, who worked with Paul Kagame, who had to run for their lives because they found out that Paul Kagame is a maniac, is a killer. He is I don't want to say he's crazy, but he's like like Satan himself, where he has no pity for no one. He kills everyone, right? And I'll give you an example. Recently, he killed a young Christian Tutsi, young man, Kizito Mihigo, just because this boy, after being born again as a Christian, wanted a reconciliation between Hutus and Tutsis, both being Rwandans. Paul Kagame does not want that. Paul Kagame, if white people and black people in South Africa can reconcile, this young man, Rwandan Tutsi, a survivor of that genocide, the 1994 genocide that Paul Kagame triggered himself by killing, downing the plane of the two presidents, African presidents, two heads of state. So now, because this young man began to sing about reconciliation and peace in Rwanda, Paul Kagame killed him. So, back to Antoine Terra, he says, so at the end, the biggest lie by the RPF was to make the international community believe that it wanted to participate in the peace accords that were negotiated in Arusha, and that it was interested in power sharing through elections. That's what Paul Kagame's Rwandans made Bill Clinton, the US administration, believe, the Canadian administration believe, the European administration governments believe, the United Nations that was present there believe. Paul Kagame made them believe they were interested in peace accords and to share power through elections. This is Nyetera I'm quoting because he was there. I was not there. I'm reading to you what he wrote. The international community, first of all, remember, Paul Kagame, they made the international community believe that they were interested in peace accords and sharing power through elections. What does it mean? It means the America, Canada, the United Nations, the European Union, all these countries that came together to try to negotiate these peace accords. Paul Kagame and RPF have lied to them already. But this international community in the United Nations, they believed that they were interested in peace accords. So, in other words, they have wrapped them up in Ubwenge. That's what that means. They lied to them. Okay, now, here's the international community, the foreign governments called facilitators contributed large sums of money in order to support these negotiations. Listen carefully, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are still in the Ubwenge of the Rwandans, they have lied to you. If you have some Rwandans next to you, or you have somebody passing for Congolese Tutsi or Congolese Banyamulenge, which doesn't exist, there's no such a tribe or a lingual group, it never existed in the Congo, or passing themselves for being Banyarwanda, which means they are Rwandans. They're close to you, they're lying to you, talking to them, they're gonna lie to you. I'm reading what Antoine Terra wrote, who was at the negotiations. It's not, I'm not making this up. I gave you the title of the document, go and download it. These facilitators, right? The international community, foreign government called facilitators, who were those? The US, Canada, France, Germany, Belgium, England. These governments, including the United Nations, it says what? They contributed large sums of money in order to support these negotiations. But listen to this. Why the RPF of Paul Kagame on its side had no intention that these negotiations succeed. They had no intentions that these negotiations succeed. What happened? In 1994, while Paul Kagame continued to lie to the international community, to these facilitators, to these countries that brought all this money together, including the United Nations. They brought all this money together to make sure that these negotiations succeed. Paul Kagame's RPF and his people had no intentions. In other words, they were just lying to them, lying to them, lying to them. And America, Canada, the European Union, UN, all of them had been lied to, and they did not know they were being lied to. That's what Antoine Terra is saying in this document. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the second part to Ubwenge. for you to know that this is a culture that Rwandans have been using. They have been using it. Even today, they are using it. Ubwenge. Ladies and gentlemen, you saw today we put a picture in for us to show you that Rwanda is still occupying the DRC. The person that the whole world calls Joseph Kabila, even the person, what we call him, the figurehead being used in the Congo as president, the person they're calling Felix, they're calling him Tshisekedi, even though Tshisekedi is not his name. His name that his father gave him is Felix Antoine Chilombo. That's his name. But because in order for him to have some kind of status outside in the world, he took on his father's name, even though that was not his name. And I'm not gonna dwell on that today, but I want you to know, as Felix Chilombo himself has said, he has made a deal with the guy called Joseph Kabila. He said it when he was in I think in Botswana. He said it when he was in Germany. He said it when he came to America. He said it when he went to France, to England. He has made a deal with the guy called Joseph Kabila for them to run the Congo together. It's just like Donald Trump making a deal with Barack Obama to run the United States together. And every time Donald Trump goes out, comes back, he has to go and meet with Barack Obama. Whatever he wants to make a decision, Barack Obama, they have to meet and talk. Barack Obama has to tell him what to do as president. That is what has been happening in the Congo, but that's because, as everybody who follows the elections in Africa know, that in the Congo, this guy, Felix Chilombo, did not win the elections. He's being used as a tool by both the guy you know as Joseph Kabila and Paul Kagame, who's the master who controls the DRC. And so I'm saying that to end with this, and we'll come back to this next week, because I want to end before an hour expires. We, in 2017, we published a book that is detailing the origins, the identity, and the Ubwenge being used by Paul Kagame and the person you called Joseph Kabila. We published this red book with photos on the top of it. So we're asking you, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter who you are, you can get it on Amazon. You're going to read it. It's a red book published by me, Yalengi Ngemi, Ngemi. And this red book is titled Joseph Kabila, quote unquote, because that's not his real name. Joseph Kabila, quote unquote, identity thief, imposter, and Rwandan Trojan horse in Congo. I'm repeating. Joseph Kabila, quote unquote, identity thief, imposter, and Rwandan Trojan horse in Congo. The reason why we put out this book in 2017, in December, is that most of the world has been wrapped in Ubwenge. And one of the way that Rwanda, Paul Kagame has used Ubwenge is for them, Rwandans, to take up Congolese names and identities so they could infiltrate throughout the Congo DRC, political system, the army, the police, all the security services, the economy, the political system throughout the DRC, so that now it is Rwandans who control every aspect of the Congolese national system: political, security, economy, social, everything. But in the Congo, they have taken up Congolese names such as Joseph Kabila, which is not his name. So this book, ladies and gentlemen, gives you the evidence. Again, not opinions, evidence. In this book, as you see on the top, we have, in the middle, we have Joseph Kabila when he was young. On this side, you have this guy who is his really biological father. On the other side is the person called Laurent Desire Kabila that he stole the name from. And in here inside, we're providing evidence by whites, by black people, by white people, by Americans, by Rwandans themselves, by Europeans, by Congolese people, everyone who knew where this boy you call Joseph Kabila came from. And this book shows you that he is never been a son, whether biological or adopted son of Laurent Desire Kabila. He was never adopted nor biological son of Laurent Desire Kabila. Why are we giving that? Is because it's part of Ubwenge, part of the culture of lying that Paul Kagame and his people have used in order for them to be able to control, to first of all, to infiltrate, to occupy, and to control the DRC, even as we speak today. And most of the world is discovering that the guy called, so-called Felix Tshisekedi, he's calling himself Tshisekedi, even though that's not his name. His name is Chilombo, does not have power in the DRC. That the guy called Joseph Kabila, who is a Rwandan Tutsi, his real name is Hippolyte Kanambe. He's the one who still controls the Congo, who still runs the Congo. Paul Kagame is the master who controls the Congo, like King Leopold II used to run the Congo from Belgium. Paul Kagame is running it from Rwanda. So that's why we're giving you that book as part of understanding Ubwenge. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to continue on part 3 on Ubwenge. Now, if any of you is a Christian, usually at the beginning I said that I'm doing this show in the name of Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, right? And I'm hitting my chest because I know the power that God has, that Jesus Christ has shown in my life. But I want to end with this, because I know there are a lot of pastors and ministers and religious people who have been lied to, who have been covered into Ubwenge, so that you don't know. You go to Kigali and they still lie to you, because we'll talk about it next week. Before you go to Kigali, Rwanda and Paul Kagame, they prepare everything you're going to see and do in Kigali. They will not let you go somewhere where they did not prepare for you to go and see. So if you are a Christian, I'm going to give you 3 things. The Bible says, thou shalt not kill. Paul Kagame's Rwanda not only slaughtered Tutsis and Hutus, innocents, in Rwanda, for Paul Kagame to wrestle power in 1994, but Paul Kagame has killed religious people even in Rwanda, those who went to Rwanda to try to help Rwandans. So if you're a Christian, think about that, whether a Christian leader or a Christian just supporter. Paul Kagame's Rwandans have been killing. They've been killing innocents. In the Congo DRC, right now the toll is about more than 12 million Congolese have died. at the hands of Rwandan Tutsis, mostly. Number 2, thou shalt not bear false witness, or thou shalt not lie. And I just told you and read to you, the culture of Rwanda is based on lies, which is more than lies on Ubwenge, because but fundamentally when we say, they say about lying, is I just read to you what Antoine Yetera said. So if Rwandan culture is based on lies, you as a Christian, I don't know, pastor or supporter, how can you support people whose culture is based on lies? Number 3, thou shalt not steal, right? Paul Kagame today, listen to me, Paul Kagame's Rwanda has become the first producer of the mineral called coltan, C-O-L-T-A-N. First producer of coltan, yet in Rwanda, there's not even one ounce of coltan that is found in Rwanda. All that is coming from the DRC. Paul Kagame is killing in Eastern DRC. He's robbing, stealing minerals, coltan from DRC and selling it. And yet, the world has no shame to say Rwanda has become the first producer of coltan, even though that they don't have coltan in Rwanda. Okay, so I just gave you those 3 things as a Christian that is unconscionable for any Christian who believes in God, in the commandments of God. Jesus said, if you love me, keep my commandments. How can you be a Christian and support Paul Kagame, who is a murderer, a satanist, a criminal who has been slaughtering innocent people both in his own country and in the DRC? Not only that, he practices lies, Ubwenge. Then he also steals other people's resources, and yet you supporting him and you say you are a Christian. I'm going to stop there, and then I'm going to ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to please read the article I gave you, Rwandan Mindset and Culture, a document. Inside, you're going to see the document by Antoine and Yetera. And if you want to get this book and share it with journalists, writers, politicians, and everybody who is interested in knowing the reality going on in the Great Lakes region of Africa, and especially in the DRC, because the DRC is still occupied by Rwandan Tutsis under Paul Kagame, and that this book is telling us that the guy called Joseph Kabila is a Rwandan Tutsi himself, who has stolen the ID, because that's part of practicing Ubwenge, by making themselves be what they are not. And we'll see you next week. I'm going to end there. Sorry, we got to be an hour and probably 3 minutes. And ladies and gentlemen, please share this video, share it, and write to us on our WhatsApp number 929-800-0303-0153. Sorry, 929-800-0153. That's our WhatsApp number. And we'll see you next week by God's grace. And let's stand up for justice. Let's stand up for truth. Let's stand up to stop the genocide of innocent Rwandans and Congolese people at the hands of Paul Kagame's Rwandans, Tutsis. See you next weekend.